incorporate something that went really well with the food. Also, very simple ingredients that you can get at home and make very simply. I'm going to show you a few techniques that you can do if you don't have professional tools that you would at a standard bar. So initially, the drink is made with gin. You can also do this with vodka. You can do it with tequila, rum, whatever you want to do. It's very easily versatile drink. It's kind of a play of a few different things: daiquiris, caipirinha, lemon drop. So really refreshing ingredients that you can find right now that you can drink at the pool and make really easily at home. What we're going to do is we're going to first start off with a bucket glass, which I'm assuming most of you probably also have, a lemon, and then we're going to take a few wedges of lemon. And what we're doing here is we're going to incorporate the rind end, which gives the drink a little bit more of an oily feel in the mouth. Instead of using the fresh juice only, which we are also going to do, this is going to incorporate some of the oils. To balance that out, we're going to use some of the standard white sugar that you'll probably have it at home too. I'm using a bar spoon. It's essentially the same volume as a typical teaspoon. So if you don't have a bar spoon, again, you can use a teaspoon. To incorporate that, we're going to use a muddler. Again, if you don't have a muddler and you have something like a juicer or something like this, wooden spoon, whatever you need to do to incorporate those oils, you can use that as well. I'm assuming that to get the juice out, you're going to have something similar to this. If you don't, feel free to cut the lemon or lime in half, and you can just squeeze that right in. For this example, however, I'm going to use a muddler, and you're going to just incorporate the sugar into the citrus, like so. You don't need to really smash it too much. And then I'm going to use a pretty standard house bitter. This is Angostura. You can probably find this anywhere, at any liquor store, the grocery store. It's pretty common. It's used in cooking or in cocktail making. And we're just going to add a few dashes of that right into the lemon. And that's going to give a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of roundness, and kind of bring it out, bring the drink out a little bit more, and kind of boost those flavor profiles. A couple of gins that I have set out here. These are just some examples. I'm going to use the Bloom gin. This is a London style gin. It has a lot of floral notes, and the reason that I'm using this is because it doesn't have a ton of juniper notes, so it will appeal to the vodka drinkers, and it's not super overpowering heavy with herbal botanicals. There's a few others that I set out. So this is a cucumber gin that we use here at Esther's. You can use Hendrick's, which is cucumber and rose. This is the pepper gin. So you're not restricted to this. You can use whatever you want to, depending on how you want the drink to taste. And again, if you wanted to incorporate herbs, mint or rosemary or something like that, feel free to do that. You can muddle that right in as well. So we're going to set that aside. I'm, again, going to use a shaker tin, Boston shaker. If you don't have this, you can also use a pint glass, right? I'll show you a few techniques that you can use. One is rolling if you don't have these, so you're not able to shake. But just for purposes of just showing you right now with the Boston shaker, we're going to start with 2 ounces of gin. And again, if you need to use the pint glass, just go ahead and put it in the pint glass. For a rolling technique, you'll need 2. And that you can use anything, plastic cups, solo cups, whatever you want to do. A 1/4 ounce of lemon. If you don't have a jigger handy, as far as the 2 ounces of spirit, it's just a standard 5 count. If you want to just do that, I know at home we like to go a little bit heavy, so feel free to do that if you want to. And then for the 0.5 ounces of the syrup and the citrus, it's just a quick 1 count. Again, not rocket science. If you like it a little bit sweeter, a little bit more citrus forward, feel free to do that as well. I'm going to put some ice into the glass right now to chill that and get that all set up. Now, if you're doing a rolling technique, essentially you can kind of swirl the glass just to make sure that the ice isn't sticking, and you're essentially just going to roll the glass back and forth like so. What this does is it fills the drink down, gets a little bit of dilution for the citrus to balance everything out. Don't need to do it too much. For the shaking technique, obviously, we're going to put that at a bias, snap that shut, give it a few shakes. I'm not going to do that very long just because I've been rolling it. I'm using a strainer here. If you don't have a strainer and you're comfortable with setting the glass end to the other pint glass, you can do this as well and just pour this on. So that's just an easy way, an at-home method to do it if you don't have professional tools, right? So I'm just going to accentuate the nose of the drink with a little bit of citrus peel. If you don't have a peeler, you can use a paring knife. Just be very careful with that. We're going to hold the citrus over just to the side of the glass and just give it a little bit of a squeeze here, and that's going to express the oils into the glass. I like to just give the glass a little bit of a rub here on the rim, just so you get those oils incorporated in the rim of the glass, set that on top. Personally, I like a little bit more Angostura, so if that's something that you like, I just lace a little bit on the top there to add a little bit more dynamic, and there you have it. Something super fun, super refreshing, easy drinking, and really easy to do at home.
Beautiful. Cool. All right, we'll get that over to Chef. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes, and the
Cheers, everybody.
Social distancing. This is the cheers.
Social distancing, cheers.
Social distancing. Cheers, Chef.
This is for me.
This is for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Hampton Devil. Guys, that's Keith. He's our AGM and spirit specialist, and he made something delicious. Smells good. Ooh, spicy. All right. So now you have a drink. Now we gotta make you some food. Very, very hard stuff. So what we're gonna be doing today, which is something that we haven't demoed before in our cooking classes, we had seen those before, was we did cacio e pepe, we did the sausage ravioli pasta, we did the pasta al limone, our version of it. So now we're gonna do another traditional Roman pasta. It's pasta carbonara. So carbonara means in the style of the miner, so carbone, like they're covered in basically this when they come out of the mines. And so they smoke cigarettes and they eat coal, so they have very, very like kind of dull senses. So the reason why this was the miner's lunch is because they could actually taste it. The salt, the fat, the cheese, all the different things that go on in pasta carbonara. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run you guys through all the ingredients, and we'll talk about all those ingredients. Then we're gonna prep a couple of things while we cook down some guanciale, and then we're gonna make a pasta. And we're gonna drink a cocktail, and it's gonna be a good time. And if at any point you guys have questions, just type them in, shout them out, do what you gotta do, and what we'll do is we'll answer them for you. Very, very simple preparation, and the classics are simple for a reason, because they're something that you should be able to do on the fly at home with whatever you kind of have around. You know, if you weren't able to get pancetta, bacon is fine. If you couldn't get peas and you want to use some frozen peas, that's fine. If you couldn't get any peas at all, that's completely traditional. Since we have peas available, we're going to use those, but we're not going to like go crazy. It's not a vegetable dish. This is a straight up Italian pasta. Should be 3 ingredients, a little bit of magic, and we're going to get right there, okay? So let's drink cocktail. And let's talk about food. All right, so we're going to go down the line of ingredients. This is your entire shopping list. So pasta. We make our own pasta in the restaurant. As you can tell, this one is pretty dry. We do this pasta a little bit drier than normal, so that way you see how it cracks and it breaks, right? That's our rigatoni. Another name for this pasta could also be lumanche, but we just call it rigatoni because that's the name that people know. Fresh peas. We're going to talk about how to shuck those peas. Also on this one, the rusticella pasta works fine. The Checo pasta works fine. It's not a big deal. Ours is going to cook a little bit faster because it still has some moisture retained in it. Your guys' pasta is going to take anywhere 8 to 16 minutes depending on which pasta you decide to purchase. So now here you go, guanciale. This is ours. We make this. This is guanciale. It's basically the pig gel that's just salted. It's pig and salt. and a little bit of black pepper, and that's it. You guys got pancetta because I knew that was available basically everywhere, and that's just gonna have more black pepper. When we start adding pepper to the guanciale, if you're using pancetta, you don't have to use that. And then we're gonna use some egg yolks. So we're gonna show you guys how to separate eggs, which is the hardest part of this. And then we're gonna grate a bunch of pecorino and farm cheese. For the way I like to eat carbonara, I don't like to use total pecorino romano. I like to use Parmesan and pecorino about 50-50. And you're gonna see what that does. You're gonna see how they melt in different ways as you're doing it. And that's really just to develop the flavor. So other than that, you need a pot of water, which is very rapidly boiling. Very nice. Cool. And you're gonna need a saute pan. We're doing everything over induction because we wanna make it as controlled as possible. We wanna be able to turn it up, turn it down. If anyone gets lost during this, don't stress. Very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start in a pan, we're gonna turn it on. We're gonna have a little bit of a drink.
Hey, Chef.
Yes.
A couple of questions.
Couple of questions.
Someone who's been on a mostly carb-free diet for the last year looks
I
fantastic.
feel bad for them.
I know. Well, she wants to know if there's any pasta substitutes for somebody on a low carb.
So I've done spaghetti squash a la carbonara, and that is actually super delicious. That stays between us, all right? So
Wow.
spaghetti squash, bring it out, make sure it's dry, make sure it's not overly wet, and then you can make it, and it works really, really well. The other thing I'd say is the chickpea flour pastas, the rice flour, the black bean pastas. I mean, if you can choke them down and you're happy with that, go for it. Pasta's been made the same way around the world for 5,000 years. I think they nailed it. So
There's a reason for it. Yeah.
there's a reason for it. So this pan's gonna be hot already, guys, right? So one of the things I want you to do is I don't want you to start with too hot of a pan. And the reason why that is because we're not gonna really burn this till the end, but it's dry. This is something we very rarely do. Is what we're doing is we're putting this guanciale in the pan dry because it's all pork fat and it's gonna render out all the happiness that's gonna season everything that we're doing. Did I use it all? No. Are you gonna use all yours? Sure. We're gonna take some of this out and reserve it for garnish later. That's what this is for. But you're gonna see that as we go along, okay? The first thing we have to do is we have to start cooking it. And so that's gonna happen. This bowl goes away for right now. Pancetta and eggs in the morning, way better than bacon, less smoky. Just cured with black pepper and salt and some thyme. So it's gonna be a good time.
Oh, lovely.
Mhm.
So somebody else was asking if you wanted to add a few other veggies instead of
Absolutely.
veggies.
I mean, here's the thing is, traditionally, like, peas are a stretch. Peas are the stretch for this dish, right? Like, oh, wow, adding a green vegetable. If anyone, like, spent time in Italy, they do one of two things. Either they don't eat vegetables, or they cook the bejesus out of them. So we're gonna clean some peas, and we're gonna start doing this. And we're gonna start getting those together. If you want to throw in blanched vegetables or cook some vegetables in with your guanciale, you're not going to have a bad time. It's going to all work out fine. It'll be good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean some peas. And I'm actually going to show you guys how to clean the peas in a way that you don't chase them all over your kitchen, right? One of those things that people have to understand is there's a top and a bottom to the pea. When you're cleaning a pea, you always grab the bottom of the pea, right? You just pop it open using your thumb, boom, pop it open, and then you drag your thumb along the ridge. And that's how you get the peas out of there, right? Without having them, don't try to like snap them. They're not like fava beans where you have to break them. And we're just gonna do a few of those, and I'll demo those to you guys so you can see them. And every pea is exactly the same, right? You just pull it down, right? Just pop it open. And you pull it straight down into your hand, right? And some of your peas are gonna be bigger, some of them are gonna be smaller because we live in a world of non-GMO happiness, and those are gonna go right there. cool. And so I'm a little faster at this. If you guys prep your veggies ahead of time, awesome. If you're using frozen peas, totally cool. All right. I know so many restaurants that use frozen peas. We just aren't one of those places because we try to get the best vegetables that are available. And when peas aren't available, we don't use them in the dish. Or we use sugar snap peas and then we cut them on a bias. So those are kind of like the three things. Like this is a garnish. It's not really part of the dish. That's all you really need as far as peas. So we're going to put a few extras in and let it go. Okay? And remember, we have to make the sauce and do all the other parts of this. This stuff right here, just throw them away. We actually blanch these and then juice them to make a pea and basil broth for our crudo. So guys, come back over here. First of all, the real trick with cooking at low temperature is you have plenty of time to have a drink while you're doing this. So make sure you have a drink first. Very important part of the process, all right? If you're not enjoying cooking, guys, then you're doing it all wrong, right? And people have asked, like, do my cooks drink during work? And I'm like, absolutely not. But if they could, they totally would, right? So we're gonna turn this around. And what you're seeing is, you're seeing all this beautiful pork fat come out, right? And this is actually gonna be the flavor in the dish. And we're gonna cook this down. Doing this part of it takes about 10 minutes, right? And you could do it ahead of time. When we're picking up dishes on the line, you don't order carbonara and we start cooking out guanciale. That would be crazy. So we actually render it ahead of time. Then we strain out the fat from the pork, and that gets us ahead. So we're able to go back and add a little bit in, and then use the top part that's all nice and crunchy as a garnish, right? So what you're seeing is this is just kind of cooking and being happy. Next is going to be the most dangerous part of what we're going to do. This is very dangerous. This machine right here is a microplane. If you went out and bought one fresh, it's very sharp, okay? They used to use these as woodworking tools, and then chefs got a hold of them, and then they got colored handles on them. When I started, they didn't have handles. You literally grabbed onto the metal, and if you pushed too hard on one side, it ripped your skin on the other. So you guys are living the dream. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna microplane about a cup to a cup and a quarter of fresh cheese. And we're gonna do half of the pecorino, which will be your lighter cheese, and the parm. You use grana, which is exactly what we asked you guys to grab, because you knew it's available, fine. If you guys got the pre-shredded cheese from like Whole Foods or something, which is totally cool. Like I do that like when I'm at home because I don't want to do this when I'm not working, right? And if you don't know what you're doing, it can be very tedious, right? And then we actually grind this. So, oh yeah, cocktails are delicious. By the way. Good job to the handsome gentleman. Yes, all right. So if you put it up against this and you actually go back and forth, you can get a good amount of cheese pretty quickly, right? You're gonna wear a hole in your thing, right? If you look at our cheeses during service, they all have big notches on them because that's about what we use for a couple of dishes of pasta. If you look right here, we're gonna turn this down, and here's the reason why. What we have now, if you look, we're starting to get color on this guanciale. Two things. Number one, carbonara, burn, carbon, right? Which means you want to take this to where the guanciale is almost burned. All right? Second part is, if you're afraid you've gotten there, you just turn it off. Take it off the pan, do that. We're not going to separate everything out. I want to keep some of this beautiful, crunchy guanciale as a garnish for the top of the pasta, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the rest of this. See, I like that, like little bit of burn right there. That's super nice dark color. That's what we're going for. This is going to sit in here. And now we're going to separate some eggs. A lot of moving parts, so we're going to slow down. Does anyone have any questions right now while we drink some cocktails?
Yeah, actually, had somebody who wanted to find out what got the pasta, but I think you're doing the pasta part.
What's up?
They wanted to know what's in the pasta. Like the actual your homemade.
So our pasta it's flour and water. I mean, like really, like the magic of Italian food is turning flour and water into something that every single person on the planet just loves. It's actually a lot harder than people think it is because you have to balance it with very few ingredients, or else the pasta gets lost. We use organic semolina and organic durum flour, which is a finely processed semolina, which is a hard winter wheat, and that's what we make most of our pastas out of. Sometimes we'll add eggs to our pasta. Sometimes we'll use the 00 flour or doppio zero, and those are usually for your softer laminated pastas like flat noodles like fettuccine, and maybe like another flat noodle or like an agno or ravioli. You need a softer pasta for that. When you're making dry pasta, you want to make sure that it can hold up to some pressure and some time. All right, guys, if you want to right now, you can start cooking your pasta, especially if you have crustacella pasta, which is like 12 to 15 minutes. You're definitely gonna want to do that. Drop down your pasta. You're gonna take it, put it in your water, let it go. Right. I put salt in my pasta. We actually put salt in it to help it dry. You don't have that, so you put salt in your water, right? And make it taste like, but you don't actually make it taste like the season. Just season it until it tastes good, right? Because if you make it taste like the sea, we're gonna use some of this water inside of the sauce, and when that happens, it's gonna be gross. It's gonna be so salty and so nasty, right? So now we're gonna do two things that are really important. We're gonna separate the eggs, right? And we're gonna add black pepper to the guanciale fat. Okay? Slowing down, not going too fast.
Slow down. So,
We're taking our time.
So for those that are chocolate members who are not in Vegas, haven't had the pleasure of coming here or Ada's, we've got another restaurant opening up soon or in the next few months.
Yeah, we have a new friend in town, and I am lucky enough to be pairing up with my great friend, Chef Bruce Callan, on a new restaurant, Tivoli Village, and basically it's our version of East Coast Italian, and the name is going to be Scuola Vecchia, right, which means old school in Italian. And we want to do our whole entire thing is like before like chicken parm was everywhere, and before like everyone like everything was played out. All those dishes that are classics were really great. We're going back to dishes really great, a very special way, and making them really great. So you
Not like the whole processed, bland,
that is our goal.
boring thing.
Yeah. Like just no over processing, no blandness, like just doing things right and taking like the classics and just elevating them to the level they deserve to be treated. All right, so next thing we're gonna do.
We're gonna separate some eggs.
Guys, we're gonna separate some eggs. Guys, anyone ever separated an egg? Yeah? I'm gonna show you the easy way. Yeah? This is gonna be very hard. You're gonna make a little well with your cheese, because we're gonna put our egg yolks right here. All right? The reason why you don't do this ahead of time is because when you do this, and the egg yolks get mixed into the cheese, the salt will start to cure the eggs, right? So first thing you do is you crack all your eggs into a bowl, right? And I've seen people go back and forth between the shelves and do all this stuff, and they make a whole mess out of it. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is crack them into a bowl and then just pick them up. Watch. Pick them up and just let the yolks separate, and then put it right there. Pick it up. Oh my gosh, we can't use those for meringue anymore. Oh darn. No big deal. Toss them there, put it there, right? Pick it up, separate it, throw it over there. Okay? And then your egg whites, you can make yourself an omelet tomorrow if you want to. And you can put some vegetables in that and do whatever. But egg whites are done. And now your eggs are separated and if you didn't overthink it, the real trick with cooking is by taking, certain like little steps, you're able to simplify processes. So one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our peas that we shucked and we're gonna throw them over here. Those peas are so fresh, you don't need to cook them. You're just gonna go right in here, and then that's gonna be the garnish. We added the black pepper in here. The black pepper and the warm fat toast the black pepper. So if you were using pancetta, most likely this is what your pan looks like, okay? Now all we have to do is do two things. Cook pasta and make sauce. Well, cool thing is you already made the base for your sauce right here. It's sitting on no heat. You're all good. Your egg yolks are mixed with your cheese. We're gonna use this handy dandy tool right here. Hopefully everyone went out and bought one of these for the demo. All right, and we're gonna cook some pasta. You can cook as much pasta or as little pasta as you want. You can make as much sauce or as little sauce as you want, and you're gonna see why. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop about a half a pound of pasta, right? If you're doing this with a few friends, it's gonna be more than enough pasta for all of you. If you're at home in quarantine, it'll also be enough for all the people in your house, just you, right? You will not wanna not eat this dish, okay? So our pasta takes about 3 minutes, all we need, right? So we're gonna drop this down, right? We're gonna take our fancy fork and we're gonna stir the pasta, right? And we're gonna start releasing some of that starch and making sure nothing sticks together. And our boiling water is boiling, so we're all good. Then we're gonna take our fork. This is obviously the most intricate piece of equipment that you need for this. And you're literally gonna whip the egg yolks and the cheese together, right? It's gonna turn into a paste, and then it's gonna turn into this little clump, right? This is what you want. And you're like, well, that doesn't look very appealing, right? Well, what it is this is the fat from the cheese is surrounding the egg yolk, and it's gonna slow down the cooking of the egg yolk at the end, right? So there's two parts of this. We're gonna add this in to this pan here, right? We're gonna add this in here with the pasta and with a little bit of water, and we're gonna stir it. And the cheese is gonna melt, and the egg yolk is gonna thicken. And that's all carbonara is in French cooking, they call this a liaison, right? Basically what you're doing is you're tempering eggs into a sauce or soup. But this is just done with a lot more Italian flair, where you see people do this, right? And they do it over here, and then they do it over here. It's all for show. And then it's about cooking the pasta properly. It's about making sure that your sauce doesn't get clumpy. If it does break, there's a real simple answer. You add more water, right? A lot of the mysterious things about Italian cooking are really just basic culinary technique, just not said with a French accent. Cool? So we have pasta, and our pasta cooks really fast because we make it in-house. We don't dry it all the way. It retains some moisture. We don't have to overcook it, right? So you take one of these. Boom. Pasta needs another 30 seconds, which gives us time to turn the pan back on. All right? And we have plenty of time to drink some cocktail. Because remember, guys, this is a happy hour. You're not drinking a cocktail, you already failed.
So we had a couple of other questions for you. You're a lot more relaxed on camera since the first time that you did something.
Yes.
I think what you guys did with Secret Burger and with Eric's company was really pretty fabulous in terms of keeping the restaurant going. Why don't you share with everybody? Because some people in California are still in quarantine,
Right.
have favorite restaurants they want to keep around.
Absolutely.
So, we've got that challenge.
So what we did, which was a little bit different than what everyone else did, because I think everyone else had to come up with their own answer. By the way, we're going to put some pasta in a pot now. I know, we're actually doing this. So you take some water, add the water, okay? It's a really important part. So, and then just because I want you guys to see this, now this water has a ton of starch in it. From cooking, you're going to add 2 more ounces. Or let's call it 4 ounces of water. Okay, and now I want you to see this over here. So what we did is we did cooking kits for all of our wonderful friends in Vegas, and you know we gave a few away to some friends. If you want to taste here,
First responders, nurses. Yep.
first responders, nurses, people who like didn't have time to cook dinner. We basically gave them kits for free just to make sure. So guys, what you're seeing here, guys, this is really important when we're talking about this, okay? So here's the thing is like, what you're seeing is you're seeing the fat from the guanciale and the water glazing the pasta. If you do this first, right, and you're getting some of that starch out of the pasta, when you add this, which we're gonna do now, we're gonna stir it in, right? And this is just sitting here and being happy. Boom, boom, right? And you're just gonna mix it in and stir it. This is the super old school traditional way of making carbonara. You're literally, here, let me do it so that way Eric doesn't chase you around. Turn this off, turn the heat off, and stir the egg yolks in, right? See how it instantaneously becomes creamy? Guys, that's all carbonara is egg yolks and cheese and pasta water, and black pepper and guanciale, and everything else that you add to it is extra. Let's add some more pasta water, guys. Let's get a little thick, right? So you have your pasta water over here. Has starch in it. We're gonna do 1.5 more. Oh my gosh, now we have 7 ounces of water in there. Come off the rails, guys. And you're literally, because we're not boiling it, we're stirring it together, okay? Right? And here's the thing, guys. If your pasta continues to cook and continues to do this, it's just gonna get better and better. Take some liquid, get all of your egg yolks out of there, right? Like that. And watch it as you stir it over low heat. It's just gonna get creamy and awesome. Now, if you're adding extra veggies to this, adding whatever you want to add to it, it's awesome. That's fine, right? Do we add a cream to this? No. Do people add cream to carbonara? Yes. Is it carbonara then? The answer is no.
So here's another question
Yep.
for you real quick. Somebody was asking in terms of making the pasta, should they leave it a little less done because you're putting it in here? Or
I think you
about
should
how done should it be?
always cook your pasta al dente. And then if you want to cook your pasta more, just bring it together over here is a really important part of this. So I'm going to show you a little trick. Say like you have too much sauce, right? Say you have too much sauce, right? Too much sauce in your pasta. Oh no, that's not Italian. Take it off the heat. Get your cocktail. Have a little drink. Turn off your burner, right? And just let it sit off the heat. It's still cooking. Eggs are still cooking. Pasta is still cooking. Everything's coming together. We're gonna do this crazy thing where we taste our food, right? So we got milk. Needs a little bit of salt, and it needs a little bit of pepper. Cool. Can you use more pepper? You can use as much pepper as you want to put in it. As long as you toasted that pepper with the guanciale fat or the pancetta fat, you're good. And then see this, guys? See, like it gets a little bit thicker just sitting there, right? As long as you keep it moving and as long as you toss it, you're gonna get this beautiful egg-based glaze. It's egg and cheese, guys, and pasta water. And then, very technical plating on all of our food, guys. My cooks know that if you don't put 1,312 of those pastas in there, man, you're in trouble, right? Bunch of your crispy guanciale on top. You can use as much or as little as you want. I say if you're eating carbonara, you might as well enjoy it. And then a little bit of black pepper. And I go crazy. I grab that fancy cheese grater thing again, and I go a little cheese over the top. Cool. And just like that, you have pasta carbonara. And this is what we call 3-ingredient magic. It's easy, breezy, wonderful. Once you eat crispy pancetta or guanciale, you will never go back to bacon. Closer you get this to burn, the more delicious it is.
Oh,
Got a little fly on there. That's living in the desert. That's what you get. And here's the thing is, guys, if you're worried about your pan, if you're worried about like everything sticking to it, come over here when you're done. Throw a few more little bits of water in there, right? And because cleaning this up is like cleaning an egg can. You literally just take it and swoosh it around, and it'll just clean itself. So it's a one pot wonder, and on top of that, the pot is pretty darn easy to clean when they're done. Yeah. So that's one that we love doing. It's one of everybody's favorites, and we're excited that you guys got to come and hang out with us and drink cocktails and do all that. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but we open at 5 o'clock. So
anyway,
thanks, guys.
Couple last questions. Couple last questions. One comment.
Huh?
Our friend Ellen Schwartz from the LA Convention Center.
I
Did point out your hat, like I told you.
yeah. So I was
Very happy to
I lived
see
in
it.
Venice for 10 years. I'm really excited to be back in my hometown of Vegas. I'm still a Dodgers fan, and I thought this was our year. We'll see if we're actually able to play baseball.
We'll hope for it. We'll hope for it. And the last thing was so that you were in the middle of the story about what you did once a week.
Oh yeah, so we
Finish that
just
real
did
quick.
cooking kits, 4-course dinners that you could put on the table in about 30 minutes.
And you also
Yeah.
gave the recipe.
Yeah,
as
we
we
gave
did
you
it.
guys the recipes and all the ingredients, everything portioned out. If you want to see those videos, because this is the first time you saw one of those, you can watch us stumble and learn every single time as we did this through our Facebook page on Esther's Kitchen under videos. They're about an hour long. You will learn something, hopefully every single time. And hopefully you'll enjoy the videos and come to the restaurant and hang out with us. And you'll be able to compare your carbonara with our carbonara. All right? And if you like yours better, now you're really Italian. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chef. You're the
Cheers,
best.
guys.
You're amazing.
Cheers.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we really want to thank the chef for being with us. And this is Stephanie here speaking on, everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. We want to thank our sponsors of GES and Visit Anaheim, who are our annual sponsors. And we also want to put a plug in for our next event, which is June 29th. It's going to be an educational one. So keep an eye out. And when you get the survey, please fill it in. The program committee really appreciates you doing that. Anything else, Joy?
No, my phone just died, so I'm gonna go.
Joy's phone just died. We're gonna finish our cocktails.
Had a great time with everyone.
And you can
Thank you,
definitely
Chef.
still definitely donate. We're gonna be donating to this particular charity for a while. Paul is gonna kill me because I just forgot the name of it. Paul, do you want to throw that in the chat room? Or I can unmute you. Here, you're unmuted. Let's go ahead and unmute yourself.
It is the Transgender Law Center in Oakland, California.
You have to unmute yourself. Okay,
I
go ahead.
did. The charity is the Transgender Law Center of Oakland, California, to celebrate Pride Month as well as Black Lives Matter.
All right, thank you all. On behalf of all of us, we'll
We'll see you next time.
see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
You guys